This video is going to cover all the tabs located in the Advanced section of the Yoast SEO plugin. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Let's go ahead and get to it. Go to the dashboard area, come on down to the Yoast SEO plugin, and in the flyout, click on Advanced. And we've got three tabs up here: Breadcrumbs, Permalinks, and RSS. Now, the Breadcrumbs tab allows you to add and customize the way a breadcrumb will look on your theme. Now, this has very minor, if any, SEO benefits. So if your theme, like the one I'm showing you here, does not support breadcrumbs, then you may elect just to go ahead and leave this disabled. Now, if you want to add the breadcrumbs feature, you can use the copy and paste code snippet that I'm including along with this video. And I'm going to demonstrate how to set that up and customize it in this video. So by default, we've got this set as disabled. So let's first off go ahead and click on Enable. And in doing so, it's going to expose the customization items here. Well, let's go ahead and come on down and save changes just so that we've got the breadcrumb feature enabled here. Now, if we go to Appearance and Customizer, I'm going to open that in a new tab. You can see down here at the bottom for this particular theme, which is the default 2016 theme from WordPress, that the Yoast SEO Breadcrumbs Customizer field has been added. So we click on that, you can see this pretty much replicates what we have here, some of the same items. Now, currently, we do not have the breadcrumbs feature added. We've got it enabled, but there's nothing there because we don't have the code added. This theme doesn't have it built in. So let's go ahead and open up our copy and paste document. And I've got a few other things on here too that I'll cover, but this is the code right at the very top of this document that we're going to copy into my clipboard. Go ahead and get this out of the way for now. Now we want to add this code to our theme's header.php file. Now, before you go tweaking any code, it's a good idea to have a backup just in case you screw something up. I mean, just in case something screws up. So before you do anything, you want to make sure that you open up like a file manager in your cPanel control panel or an FTP client and download an unaltered version of your header.php file. That way, if something does happen, well, you just upload that unaltered version, overwriting the messed up one, and you're back in business. So now that we got that public service announcement out of the way, let's go into the editor of our theme. And another thing, it's not a great idea to edit the live theme, but you know, this is a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. So we want to look over here on the right side for our header.php file. Right here it is, theme header. Go ahead and click on that. And we want to scroll to the very bottom of our file, put the cursor right there, and paste that code in there. That's it. Update file, and we've got this. So now then we want to come on back to our SEO plugin thingy, go to Advanced, there we are. Okay, so now then we've got the Yoast breadcrumb setting enabled, and we've got the code added to our theme. Now, another note is that the next time that this theme is updated, it's going to wipe out all of our customizations. It's going to wipe out that code we just added. So it's also a good idea to put that in a child theme, but that's the makings of an entirely different video. Just let it be known, though, that anytime that you do any code customization, you should do that in a child theme. Otherwise, the next update, you're going to have to redo everything. So just keep that in mind whenever your breadcrumb stops working shortly after your next update. Okay, so let's go back here and refresh. And we can see this has been added. This is basically where our breadcrumb is going to be showing up at on all of our pages. So what's going to happen here is this is going to give us a kind of a navigation trail, a breadcrumb trail of where we are. So let's go to this particular post. And you can see here that we started off on the home page, and you can click on this to go back to the home page. And then you've got what's called a separator, and then it shows you where we are currently. Now let's go in and do some customization. Because right now, basically, we're done. I mean, we've got everything working, got the breadcrumbs enabled, we've got the code added, we're good to go. But we can do some customization here. And we could do the customization right here and then toggle back and forth, or we can do it here in the customizer and see it live. Let's go ahead and refresh this so we can see our breadcrumb that's been added. Right, there we go. Now then, come on back here to the Yoast breadcrumbs, and instead of home, let's say something like this, just for demonstration purposes. Now, the prefix to the breadcrumbs is a good idea too. Not mandatory, but if you do put this in here, this is what it's going to look like. And one thing that's not here that is here is the bold the last page. And that would be, let me demonstrate that. Let's come on down here and save changes. the last page is basically the last item in our breadcrumb trail. So in this example, it would be main page. Let's go ahead and refresh this. And since we didn't save that, the prefix didn't stick. But you can see how that's a little more bold now. Go and put that prefix back in there. There you go. Now if we come over here, go to that post, you can see this is the prefix. We've got the home page, and then we got the separator, and then the destination or the final page is in bold. And that's where we are right here. Now then, one last customization I want to cover with you, of course you can see the rest of these here, is the separator right here. And that's one of these other items I've added to the copy and paste document, and that is right here. This is the separator that's there by default. So if for some reason you mess around and you don't know how to replicate this by some keyboard combination, well, you can just copy it from here and paste it in that separator box and you'll be good to go. Now another thing is that you can customize that with, I think this is called like Unicode or ASCII code or something, but if we just copy this into our clipboard, come on back here and paste that in place of this, you see it changed it to an arrow. And if you want to see more codes for different looking arrows, I've added that to the text document as well. Scroll down a bit more. Right here, w3schools.com char set. That's what they're called, char sets. Just head on over here and you can see there's a whole bunch of them. Now then you can further customize that by adding HTML, or as in this example, inline CSS code. And all I'm going to do is change the color of our newly added arrow to red. So let's paste that code right in here, or any CSS or HTML code for that matter. And then you got to click somewhere else because I didn't type it. I just added it in there. And there you go. I changed that to red. Pretty cool stuff. Now if we save and publish this, and then come on back to our advanced tab here under breadcrumbs and then refresh, it's carried it over here as well. And here's where I bolded it. And if you want to change the taxonomy to show in breadcrumbs for post type, then you can do that here. Now if you want to learn more about this, you've got the knowledge base here, and of course also up here you've got the tab specific help center video tutorial and the knowledge base here. So that's the breadcrumbs. Now then, under permalinks, this section can be a bit dangerous, so tread carefully. The first item is a great example. My suggestion is leave this alone. There's really no SEO benefit to this whatsoever. It's more of a cosmetic issue to some, and that's why Yoast put this here. But if you click on remove, all you're doing is removing the word category from the URL, from the permalink on the category page. So if we come up here to post, category under new tab, and we want to see the actual category page for cats, well, here's the category page for cats. So all the posts that are in the cats category are going to show up here on this page. But this is what that button does. It would remove the word category from this permalink. That's it. It would then redirect everything on the cats category page to this URL right here. That's fine, right? No big deal. But if you change your mind later on and decide to put it back, you're going to get page not found because it's not going to be able to put that category back in there. It won't redirect back to that. And if that made absolutely no sense to you whatsoever, then you should not be messing with this. Just leave this as keep. Now, redirect attachment URLs to the parent post URL. This is dealing with images, and 99.99% of the time, this should be set to redirect. Because at no redirect, if your images that you have in your posts or pages end up on, like, say, Google Images, for example, the link, when somebody clicks on that image, would go back to the attachment page for that image, not to the actual post or page that image was in. By having this set to redirect, it will send that person clicking on that image in Google Images to the post or page that that image was in. So have this one set to redirect. That's my suggestion anyway. Unless you've got like a photo blog or something, then you want it to go to the attachment page. And don't forget you've got the tab specific help center link here for further explanation if any of this stuff isn't making sense. Cleaning up permalinks. The first one deals with stop words like a, of, the, with. By default, it's set to remove them. Like many of these other items so far, there's very little SEO benefit to removing those stop words, but some SEO experts will argue with you and say that there is a little bit of benefit, but others, like myself, would say that the problems will outweigh those minor benefits. The problems being, if you post a lot on the same topic, then you are eventually going to end up with identical permalinks. The problem with that, though, is that you cannot have identical permalinks within the database. So WordPress will automatically add a -2 on the second instance of that identical permalink, and then -3 on the third time around, and so on. Because again, you cannot have the exact URLs in the database. So myself, I say keep those stop words and quit removing them. Now this next one here, I would say click on remove, because with it being kept, Google is having to work overtime if you've got a whole bunch of comments on a particular post or page, because with it on keep, Google has to go through and index each one of those comments. Now the drawback to having it set to remove is that whenever the user has JavaScript disabled, they're not going to see those comments. They're not going to be able to post any comments either. So since there's not a whole lot of folks out there that have JavaScript disabled, and for those that do, well, they should be used to having issues with sites that they see. The benefit of having this set to remove for Google, being able to more quickly index the one URL for all those comments, that benefit is far greater for me anyway. So I set this to remove. And the last one here, I would suggest highly just leaving this as is, set to no redirect. And you can read more about that right here if you want, but you're playing with fire if you want to set this to redirect. You've got additional options here that if you do, for some reason, need this to redirect, you can disable certain URL parameters that this affects right here. But I would say, just to be on the safe side, leave that as no redirect. And of course, whatever changes you make, click on Save Changes for those to take. And the last one, RSS, you only have 2 items here, content to put at the beginning of and at the end of your RSS feeds. And this only deals with scrapers, basically people that are stealing your content by way of scraping your RSS feeds. So for the idiot scrapers that do this, if you have content in here, like maybe your name or these variables here that describe your site, post your site name, post your name, then whenever the scrapers add this content to their site, they're also adding your name, your site description, and so on. If you do this, if you don't want to mess with this, then you can just leave it as is, or better yet, under Settings, Reading, open this in a new tab, set this to Summary for each article in a feed. Set that to Summary instead of full text, and that won't be an issue, because the scrapers aren't going to want just a piece of the pie, they're going to want the whole pie. So if you have this set to Summary, come on down and click on Save Changes, then you're not going to have issues with scrapers. But if you do add variables here, and you've got some examples here that you can add to this and their definitions, then come on down here and click on Save Changes. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on configuring the Yoast SEO Advanced Settings tab. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day.